Can we talk? I asked, standing in the doorway. She didn't look up. Her thumb kept moving. About what? About us. She sighed like I had asked for something unreasonable. I'm tired. I know you're tired, I said. I am too. But we can't keep doing this, she scrolled. The glow of her phone lit her face. Doing what? Pretending nothing's wrong? She finally looked at me. You're making it wrong. That sentence hit harder than a slap. I'm trying to fix it. No, she said. You're trying to start another fight. I'm trying to talk. She stood up and brushed past me. I don't want to. I followed her down the hall. Since when? Since everything turns into my fault, she said, opening the bedroom door. I didn't say that. You never have to, she replied. Your face says it for you. She went inside and shut the door. Not slammed. Shut. Quiet. Final. I stood there, staring at the wood, listening to the lock click. I raised my hand to knock, then dropped it. I always dropped it. I hated conflict until it cornered me. Please, I said through the door. Just 5 minutes. No answer. I sat on the floor with my back against the wall. I miss you, I said, my voice low. I'm still here. Her phone buzzed inside. I heard her laugh. Not loud, just enough. I pressed my forehead to the door. Did I do something? Silence. I went back to the living room and sat on the couch. The cushions dipped where she used to curl up, beside me. I stared at the TV without turning it on. This wasn't the first quiet night. It was just the first one that felt permanent. I thought about all the times I swallowed words to keep peace. Every time I told myself tomorrow would be better. Every time I waited too long. I texted her, even though she was 10 steps away. I love you. The message showed delivered, not read. I lay down on the couch, shoes still on, lights still on. The house felt bigger without sound. As I closed my eyes, one thought kept repeating, slow and heavy. I might already be alone. I whispered, say something. The bedroom stayed quiet. I argued with myself. Knock again. Walk away. Be patient. Be proud. I chose nothing. Minutes passed. Or hours, I couldn't tell. I remembered her saying, you avoid fights until they explode. She wasn't wrong. I waited. I hoped silence would heal itself. My phone buzzed, a notification. Not from her. I laughed once, bitter and small. Of course. I typed, deleted, typed again. I'm on the couch. Read, no reply. I stared at the ceiling and asked the room, how did we get here? The room didn't answer. I turned my face into the pillow and finally admitted it, even to myself. Tonight wasn't just quiet. It was the beginning of goodbye, and I felt it settle inside me. I'm just saying you've changed, I told her one night. She didn't look at me. People grow. You should try it. I am trying, I said. That's why I'm asking, she laughed softly. You ask too much. That wasn't how she used to talk. A year ago, she would have sat beside me and said, what's wrong? Now everything felt like a complaint to her. At dinner she'd say, do you have to chew so loud? If I stayed quiet, she'd say, why are you sulking? If I joked, she'd roll her eyes. You're so childish. I started measuring my words before speaking. Sometimes I chose silence just to avoid her sighs. Her mother noticed everything I did wrong. A husband should earn more, she once said while stirring tea. A wife shouldn't have to remind him. I smiled politely. I'm doing my best. She nodded like she didn't believe me. Later, my wife said, she's just worried about me. I worry about you too, I replied. Yes, but she's family, she said, ending the discussion. I drove home that night feeling smaller. I called my best friend and said, maybe I'm just not enough. He sighed. You sound tired. I'm fine. No, you're not, he said. You keep giving and giving. Who's giving back? She is, I said quickly, just differently. Or you're lying to yourself, he replied. I defended her even when she wasn't there. Marriage isn't easy. Neither is carrying it alone, he said. At home, she looked at me and asked, why are you so quiet? I don't want to say the wrong thing, she frowned. So now I scare you? That's not what I meant, I said. You never mean what you say, she replied. I apologized. I always did. I'm sorry. For what? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. She shook her head. Exactly. Weeks passed like that, small cuts, sharp words, long silences. I told myself love meant patience. Love meant endurance. Love meant choosing peace. Her mother called again. You should be more attentive. I try, I said. Trying isn't enough, she replied. That sentence followed me everywhere. One night, after another argument I couldn't even remember starting, I said, "Can you tell me what you want from me?" She looked tired. "Why do you always make things heavy?" "I'm asking because I care." She turned away. "You care too much," I laughed weakly. "Is that possible?" "Yes," she said. "It's exhausting." That word hurt, exhausting. I lay awake later, replaying every conversation, every apology, every time I bent myself smaller to fit her mood. I realized something uncomfortable. I was always the one saying sorry. I was always the one adjusting. I was always the one afraid to lose, and I didn't even know what I had done wrong. That thought stayed with me, quiet and heavy, as I stared at the ceiling and whispered, "How did loving you become a burden?" The room didn't answer. "Can you hand me my phone?" she asked from the kitchen. "It's on the table," I said. She replied. "I'm busy." "Just bring it." I picked it up without thinking. The screen lit up before I could turn it over. "You still awake?" "I was thinking about you." My thumb froze. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't searching. It was just there. I swallowed and read the name. Not saved. Just a number. I told myself, don't assume. I told myself, you're overreacting. Another message came in. "I miss the way you talk to me." My chest tightened. I whispered, "What is this?" She walked in and saw my face. "Why are you holding my phone like that?" "Who's this?" I asked. She snatched it. "Why are you reading my messages?" "I wasn't," I said. "It popped up." She laughed sharply. "So now you spy on me?" "I saw your name light up," I said. "That's it." She crossed her arms. "You're unbelievable. I just want to understand," I said. "That doesn't sound like a coworker. You don't know anything," she replied. "You jump to conclusions. Then explain it," I said. "Please." She rolled her eyes. "He's just someone I talk to." "About what?" I asked. "Life," she said. "Things you don't listen to." That hurt more than the message. I listened. "No, you wait for your turn to talk," she said. My heart raced. Every ignored call replayed in my head. Every late night. Every cold answer. "Why hide it?" I asked quietly. "I'm not hiding," she snapped. "You're digging." "I didn't go looking," I said. "I found it." She shook her head. "You're insecure." "I'm confused," I replied. "You're controlling," she said. "You want access to everything." "I want honesty," I said. She laughed again, louder this time. "See, this is why I don't talk to you. So I'm the problem?" I asked. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "You always are." I felt something crack inside me. That message felt personal. "That's because you make everything personal," she replied. I stepped back. "Do you care how this looks?" "I care that you don't trust me," she said. "I trusted you," I whispered. "That's why this hurts." She turned away. "I'm done with this conversation." I followed her. "Don't shut me out again." She stopped and faced me. Her voice was cold. "If you don't trust me, maybe we shouldn't be together." The words landed heavy, final, like a door closing. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. She walked away, phone in hand, leaving the question hanging between us. I stood there, replaying the message over and over. "Thinking about you. Miss the way you talk." It wasn't proof. It was worse. It was possibility. That sentence echoed in my head as I sat down, hands shaking. "Maybe we shouldn't be together." It didn't sound like a suggestion. It sounded like a warning. "Why would you say that to her?" Her mother asked over the phone. "Say what?" I replied. "You accused her," she said. "You embarrassed her." I asked a question. I said. "I didn't accuse." She scoffed. "A good husband doesn't question his wife." "A good wife doesn't shut him out," I said quietly. She hung up. That's how it started. One call, one version of the story. Suddenly I was the villain. At a friend's dinner, someone joked, "Man, you look stressed." I forced a smile. "Just work." No one asked about my marriage anymore. They already knew the answer, or thought they did. My wife didn't text, didn't call, didn't explain. Days passed. I sent. "Can we talk?" Seen. No reply. I sent. "I'm not trying to fight." Delivered. No reply. At work, I stared at my screen until my coworker said, "You okay?" "I think so," I said. She pulled a chair. "You don't look okay." "I feel like I'm losing my mind," I admitted. She listened. No advice, no judgment. Just silence that felt safe. "Maybe you're not crazy," she said finally. "Maybe you're just alone." That word stuck. At home, my wife walked past me like I was furniture. If I spoke, she sighed. If I stayed quiet, she accused me of sulking. Her mother texted, "Stop harassing her." I stared at my phone. "Harassing?" I whispered. I started apologizing again. "I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry if I misunderstood. I'm sorry for pushing." She replied once, "You always push." I tried harder. I cooked. I cleaned. I waited. The more I chased, the smaller I felt. Friends stopped inviting me out. One said, "You should give her space." "How much?" I asked. He shrugged. "Until she's ready." Ready for what? To treat me like a human again? At night, I stood outside our bedroom door. "Can we just talk?" No answer. "I'm not angry," I said. "I'm confused." Silence. "I miss you." Nothing. I leaned against the wall and slid down slowly. What did I do? My phone buzzed. A message from her mother. "You're stressing her. Be a man." I laughed softly. "I am," I said to no one. I knocked once. "Please." The door stayed closed. I realized something then. I wasn't asking for love. I was begging for basic respect. That realization hurt more than any insult. I pressed my forehead to the door and whispered, "I don't recognize myself anymore." The door didn't open. Inside that quiet hallway, outside my own bedroom, it hit me clearly. Overnight, I didn't just lose my wife, I lost my place, and I was still standing there, asking permission to exist. I woke up and didn't feel angry. That scared me more than rage. At breakfast, she walked in and asked, "Why are you so quiet?" "I'm just tired," I said. She studied my face like she was looking for something. "Tired of what?" "Everything," I replied. She waited for more. I gave her nothing. At work, my phone stayed silent. No messages. No checking. I focused on my tasks, finished early, and went for a walk instead of rushing home. My father called. "You sound different," he said. "How?" I asked. "Calmer," he replied, "but heavy." I laughed once. "I think I finally ran out of energy." He paused. "For fighting?" "For begging," I said. He didn't rush to answer. "Son, love shouldn't make you forget your worth. Note. Fix can't meta. Meet dialogue natural. Let's redo that line mentally, but too late. I must rewrite whole chapter? Can't. I already typed metaphrase. Need restart entire chapter." I woke up and didn't feel angry. That scared me more than rage. At breakfast, she walked in and said, "Why are you so quiet today?" "I'm just tired," I replied. "Tired of what?" She asked, watching me closely. "Everything," I said, and went back to my coffee. She waited for me to add more. I didn't. The silence felt strange, but it didn't hurt the way it used to. At work, I stayed late without noticing the time. I finished tasks that had been sitting for weeks. My phone stayed in my pocket. No checking, no hoping. My father called in the evening. "You sound different," he said. "How?" I asked. "Calmer," he replied. "But heavier," I exhaled. "I think I finally ran out of energy." "For work?" he asked. "For begging," I said. He was quiet for a moment. "Love shouldn't make you disappear." "I know," I said softly. "Then stop shrinking," he replied. Dignity matters, even when love is involved. I didn't argue. I couldn't. His words felt steady, like something solid to hold. When I got home, she looked up from the couch. "Where were you?" "Working," I said. "That late?" she asked. "Yes." She frowned. "You didn't text." "I didn't think you'd want that," I replied. Her eyes narrowed. "Why are you acting like this?" "Like what?" I asked. "Like you don't care," she said. I met her gaze. "I do care. I'm just not chasing tonight." She opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time in weeks, she didn't have a sharp reply. Over the next few days, I changed small things. I went to the gym. I cooked for myself. I slept early. I stopped waiting outside the bedroom door. She started watching me, not talking. Watching. One night she asked, "Are you mad at me?" "No," I said. "That's worse," she replied. I shrugged. "I'm just focusing on myself." She laughed nervously. "Since when?" "Since I got tired of apologizing for breathing," I said. She didn't laugh again. The house felt different. Quieter, but not tense. I wasn't walking on glass anymore. I wasn't trying to read her moods. One evening she said, "We need to talk." "About what?" I asked calmly. "You," she said. "You've changed." "I had to," I replied. She crossed her arms. "So what now?" I looked at her and realized something unexpected. I could imagine a life without her. Not a happy one. just a peaceful one. That's what I'm figuring out, I said. She stared at me, confused. The balance had shifted and she felt it. That night, while she slept, I sat at the table with my laptop open. My hands didn't shake. I searched quietly. I read carefully. I made notes. I wasn't planning revenge. I wasn't trying to scare her. I was protecting myself. As I closed the screen, a calm fear settled in my chest. I wasn't begging anymore. I was preparing to leave. Take your time, the lawyer said, sliding the papers toward me. I stared at them. It feels strange. It usually does, he replied calmly. No rush, I cleared my throat. Once I sign, that's it? It starts the process, he said. You can still pause. You're not trapped. I nodded. That's the point. I don't want to be trapped anymore. He glanced at me. You don't sound angry. I'm not, I said. Just tired. He leaned back. Then you're making this decision for the right reason. I picked up the pen. My hand felt heavy. I loved her. You can love someone and still leave, he said. Self-respect matters. The pen touched paper. My name looked unfamiliar, like someone else wrote it. That's one, he said gently. Each page felt louder than the last. I remembered her laugh. Her silence. The locked door. I signed again. And here, he added. My chest tightened. Why does this feel like a funeral? Because something is ending, he said. But something else is starting. I signed the final page and set the pen down. I didn't tell anyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation yet, he replied. I stood up slowly. Thank you, he handed me an envelope. Keep this safe. I nodded and left. At home, she was on the couch, scrolling. You're late, she said. Work ran long, I replied. She didn't look up. You always say that. I placed the envelope in my bag and walked to the kitchen. Did you eat? No, she said. I wasn't hungry. I opened the fridge. I'll make something. She shrugged. Do whatever you want. I realized then how sure she was. She believed I'd never leave. She believed silence would keep me. Later, she asked, Why are you acting distant? I'm not, I said. I'm just quiet. She scoffed. Same thing. I wanted to tell her everything. I wanted to shout, cry, explain. I didn't. That night I sat alone with the envelope in my hands. I ran my thumb over my name. I didn't hate her. That surprised me. I missed what we were. I missed who I thought she was. But I stopped sacrificing myself for the memory of us. I whispered, I tried. The room didn't argue. I slid the envelope into a drawer and closed it carefully. I didn't know when I'd use it. Or if I ever would. But for the first time in a long while, I felt something close to control, not power. Just the quiet strength of knowing I had a choice. Why are you so calm? She asked one evening. I don't know, I said. Maybe I'm just listening more. She frowned. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have, I replied. She watched me closely, like she expected a trap. You used to argue back. I got tired, I said. Tired of me? She asked. I paused. Tired of fighting to be heard. Her jaw tightened. So now you're punishing me with silence? I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm protecting myself. That confused her. I could see it. The next day she texted, Where are you? I replied, Out. With who? Alone. She didn't respond. At dinner she asked, Are you hiding something? No, I said. I stopped explaining everything. That's not fair, she snapped. I looked at her. Neither was being ignored. She didn't answer. Her sister called me later. Can we talk? She asked quietly. Sure, I said. She lowered her voice. She's scared. Of what? I asked. Of being alone, she said. She never thought you'd pull away. I laughed once. She pushed me away first. I know, her sister replied, but now she feels it. That irony sat heavy in my chest. She doesn't miss me, I said. She misses control. Her sister didn't argue. At home, my wife stood in the doorway and asked, Are you planning something? I met her eyes. Why would you think that? Because you're different, she said. You don't chase me anymore. I'm still here, I said calmly. But not the same, she replied. That's true, I said. She crossed her arms. So what do you want? I thought about it. Peace, she scoffed. You're being dramatic. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I finally stopped panicking. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. That night she asked, Do you still love me? Yes, I said honestly. Then why does it feel like you're leaving? She whispered. I didn't answer. I went into the spare room and opened the drawer. The envelope waited there, quiet and patient. I walked through the house thinking, not angry, just clear. I stopped in front of the old cabinet in the hallway, the one filled with our early memories. Photos, letters, little things she never touched anymore. I opened it and placed the envelope inside, beneath the letters she once wrote me. I closed the door softly. She'd never looked there. As I turned away, I realized something steady and sad. She noticed me only when I stopped trying, and by then it was already too late. Are you going somewhere? She asked, watching me put my keys on the table. Soon, I said. Work trip. She nodded. How long? Couple of days. That's it? She asked. That's it, I replied. She went back to her phone like nothing mattered. That was the strange part. Everything was normal on the surface. Dinner. Small talk. Silence that pretended to be peace. Later that night, she said, You've been really distant. I'm still here, I replied. But not present, she said. I looked at her. I was present when you weren't. She didn't respond. When she went to bed, I stayed behind. I opened the cabinet in the hallway again. The old memory box sat in the corner, dusty, forgotten. I lifted the lid. Her handwriting stared back at me. I'll love you even when you're impossible. I whispered, I wish you meant it. I slid the envelope beneath the letters. Not hidden. Just ignored. It felt cruel and gentle at the same time. She never touched this box. It belonged to a version of us she didn't want to remember. I closed it softly and walked away. The next morning she said, You didn't come to bed. I had work to finish, I replied. She studied me. You're lying less now. I almost smiled. I learned. She poured coffee. So you're really going? Yes. Why does that feel final? She asked. It's just a trip, I said. She hesitated. You'll text? If you want, I replied. She nodded slowly, unsure. At the door she said, Drive safe. I will. She watched me leave, confused but calm, no tears. No questions. On the road, I spoke out loud to myself. This isn't revenge. The car didn't argue. I checked into the hotel and unpacked slowly. My phone buzzed once. Did you arrive? She texted. Yes, I replied. Okay. That was it. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. Love used to feel warm. Now it felt like survival, like holding my breath and calling it peace. I imagined her at home, walking past the cabinet, never opening it, never knowing what waited quietly for her. That wasn't cruelty. That was truth waiting for the right moment. That night she called. I miss you, she said suddenly. I'm glad, I replied. Why do you sound so calm? She asked. I finally am, I said. She was quiet. Come back soon. I will, I replied. I hung up and lay back, staring at the ceiling. Something was moving, not loudly, not dramatically, just slowly. I knew it. She didn't. Before sleep took me, one thought settled in my chest, steady and clear. Some things don't need to be announced. They just need time, and I had finally given fate the space to speak. My phone started buzzing before sunrise. I stared at it, annoyed. Then I saw her name. Why aren't you answering? She said the moment I picked up. I was sleeping, I replied. You sound calm, she said. How can you be calm? What happened? I asked. She hesitated. He's gone. I didn't ask who. I already knew. He blocked me, she said quickly. His number doesn't work. His socials are gone. I sat up slowly. Okay, that's all you have to say? She snapped. I'm listening, I said. Her breathing was uneven. My sister knows. She read the messages. I closed my eyes. And my mother knows too, she whispered. Everything. Silence filled the line. They think I ruined my marriage, she said. They think I lied. You did, I said softly. She broke down. I didn't think it would end like this. I felt nothing. No anger. No relief. Just distance. Calls kept coming. Texts stacked up. He vanished. I didn't mean for this to happen. Why won't you say anything? Her mother called next. We need to talk, she said stiffly. I'm not there, I replied. You should have stopped this, she said. I tried, I said. Many times. She hung up. My best friend texted, You okay? I replied, I think so. Later, her sister called again. She's falling apart. I know, I said. She keeps asking about you, she added. That's new, I replied. She's scared, her sister said. Of what? I asked. Of losing you, she answered. I looked at the hotel window. She lost me a while ago. That evening, my wife called again. Her voice was shaking. I don't know what to do, she said. Everything's collapsing. I leaned back. I'm sorry you're hurting. That's it? She asked. You're not angry? No, I said. I'm just here. She cried. I made a mistake. I know, I replied. Can we fix this? She asked. I didn't answer. I feel like I'm losing control, she said. That sentence explained everything. The next message came hours later. Why won't you fight for me? I typed slowly. I fought when it mattered. She didn't reply. The truth spread fast. Friends called. Family whispered. The stories she told didn't survive reality. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. I felt numb. Karma didn't arrive with noise or drama. It came quietly, like a door closing behind her. Late at night, my phone rang again. I found something, she said, her voice low. My chest tightened. What? In the hallway cabinet, she continued. In the old memory box. I stayed silent. There were papers, she said. Legal ones. I swallowed. Yes. Her voice cracked. We need to talk. I looked at the ceiling and breathed out slowly. Okay, I said. And for the first time she sounded afraid. Not of losing love, but of losing certainty. She was sitting at the table when I walked in. The papers were spread in front of her, hands shaking, eyes red. You planned this, she said. I set my bag down. I prepared for it. Her voice cracked. That's worse. She stood up. How long? Long enough, I replied. She held the pages up. You signed these without telling me. I tried talking for years, I said. You didn't listen. That's not fair, she cried. I begged, I said calmly. You locked doors. She stepped closer. You should have fought harder. I did, I replied. You just weren't watching. Tears fell fast. I made mistakes. I know, I said. Then why are you doing this? She asked. Because love shouldn't erase dignity, I said. She shook her head. You're acting cold. I'm acting honest, I replied. Her voice dropped. I was scared. So was I said. She slammed the papers down. You waited until everything fell apart. I waited until I disappeared, I said. She looked at me, really looked. I didn't think you'd leave. That was the problem, I replied. Her hands trembled. I didn't cheat. You crossed lines, I said. Then blame me for noticing, she cried harder. I needed attention. I needed respect, I replied. The room felt heavy. She whispered, I thought you'd always stay. I thought you'd always talk, I said. She wiped her face. I'm sorry. I believe you, I replied. Her eyes widened. Then stop this. I shook my head. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust. She stepped back. So that's it? I waited, I said. I waited quietly. She covered her mouth. You never said it hurt this much. I said it, I replied. You heard noise. She sat down slowly. I feel like I'm losing everything. I lost myself first, I said. Silence stretched between us. She whispered. I was wrong. I know, I said again. She looked up, desperate. Why aren't you angry? Because anger kept me stuck, I replied. She grabbed the edge of the table. Say something cruel. I won't, I said. That hurts more, she admitted. I nodded. I know. She took a breath. If I change? I already changed, I replied. She cried quietly. I don't recognize us. I stopped recognizing me, I said. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. I didn't hold it either. Is there still a chance? She asked. I looked at her. Really looked. I didn't answer. Not yet. I'm not staying, I said quietly. She looked at me like she already knew. When did you decide? When I stopped hating myself, I replied. She nodded slowly. So this is it? Yes, I said. She swallowed. I don't blame you. That means more than you think, I replied. Her mother stood in the doorway later that day. You're really leaving? I am, I said. She crossed her arms, then uncrossed them. I was hard on you. I know, I replied. She hesitated. You didn't deserve everything. No, I said calmly, but I learned from it. She sighed. Take care of yourself. I will, I said. That was enough. No fight, no apology demanded. I packed slowly. Shirts folded, books stacked. Memories left where they belonged. She watched from the bed. You're very calm. I need to be, I said. Do you hate me? She asked. I shook my head. No, I just won't carry this anymore. She wiped her eyes. I wish I saw it sooner. So do I replied. I zipped the bag and looked around the room. I wasn't perfect. She looked surprised. What do you mean? I avoided hard conversations, I said. I waited too long. I thought silence would save us. She nodded. I thought control would. We stood there, two people finally honest, too late. Her sister hugged me near the door. You deserved better. I deserved balance, I replied. She smiled sadly. That too. At the door, my wife said, You don't have to rush. I'm not rushing, I said. I'm choosing. She stepped closer. Will you be okay? Yes, I said. That's why I'm leaving. She looked down. I never thought you'd be this strong. I didn't know either, I replied. I picked up my bag. The house felt quiet, but not heavy. She whispered, Goodbye. I paused. Goodbye. I stepped outside. The air felt different. Clear. I didn't slam the door. I closed it gently. I walked to the car without looking back. There was no victory in it. No revenge. Just relief. As I drove away, I said out loud, I stayed longer than I should have. The road didn't judge me. I felt steady for the first time in years. Not because everything was fixed, but because I finally stopped breaking myself to keep someone else comfortable. And that was enough. Are you happy? My father asked over the phone. I'm peaceful, I replied. That feels better. Months had passed. My days were simple now. Work, gym, quiet dinners, honest sleep. No tension, no guessing. A friend asked, Do you miss her? I miss who I thought we were, I said. Not what we became. I didn't follow her life. I didn't check updates. But news travels. She asks about you, her sister said once. What do you say? I asked. That you're doing well, she replied. I smiled. That's enough. One evening, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I hope you're okay. I stared at it for a long time. I am. I typed back. Nothing else came. I realized something then. I didn't need closure from her anymore. I had given it to myself. At work, someone said, You seem lighter. I stopped carrying things that weren't mine. I replied. At night, my apartment stayed quiet. Not empty. Quiet. I cooked. I laughed at small things. I spoke honestly when something bothered me. I didn't disappear for love anymore. One afternoon, while cleaning, I found the last wedding photo. Just one. Tucked inside a book. I sat on the floor and looked at it. We were so young, I said out loud. In the photo, she smiled freely. So did I. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel regret. I felt gratitude. For loving deeply. For leaving gently. I tore the photo slowly, once down the middle. I choose me. I whispered. I dropped the pieces into the trash and stood up. Later that night, a friend asked, Do you think she regrets it? I paused. I think she regrets losing someone who stayed honest until the end. That's heavy, he said. It's fair, I replied. I didn't ruin her life. I didn't punish her. I became the lesson she didn't expect. The man who loved her quietly. The man who left without destroying her. The man who chose dignity over desperation. That kind of leaving stays with you. As I turned off the lights, I caught my reflection in the window. You're okay, I said to myself. And for the first time, I believed it, not because everything worked out, but because I finally did. I lay down, breathing evenly, heart steady. Some stories end with noise. Mine ended with peace. And I knew, wherever she was, she would remember me, not for what I took, but for what I refused to become.